I got into like sports marketing and stuff like that. And I just found in those natures, those sales roles, it was just an exciting environment because I always wanted to be the next guy. I can be
Mm.
friendly with people, I can be personable, I can be everything, but like when it comes to, putting money on the table or just competing, it's like I don't want to be complacent.
Welcome to the Unknown Options, the place where we explore the unknown options. My name is Will. Today I have with me Nyjuan, talent advisor for Microsoft web developers. Nyjuan, it's great to have you here. Your journey is important. We want to highlight the good, the bad, and the ugly. For someone who might not know, what is a talent advisor?
Okay, so I'm gonna start off with saying like a talent advisor and almost an internal recruiter almost have about generally the same job descriptions in my eyes. So what we do is we are the advocates for the candidate side of the recruitment business. So you may hear about the title as a recruiter, and usually they handle a little bit more of the business development and sales side of things, or account executives. Whereas a talent advisor, I'm only responsible for the candidates. So I uh, do inbound and outbound with candidates, handle candidate advocacy, handle getting them out to certain accounts or certain roles, and just basically handle and advocate for them in the hiring process.
Awesome. I love that. How did you get started becoming a talent advisor?
So my story with becoming a talent advisor is actually pretty interesting. So uh, what actually happened was when I graduated college, I really didn't have too much of an idea or focus on what I really wanted to do. So I started doing just hands-on jobs, manual labor out in the field. So I was cutting grass, I was cleaning gutters, power washing driveways and everything. Just having a blast doing that. Then unfortunately, I fell off a ladder, messed up my back really bad. Had to go to the hospital for that. After I kind of recovered, I still wanted to continue doing the outside labor. And then basically, kind of God's way of telling me I needed to get in the office where I fell off a roof.
Oh
Due
man,
to that. So, so that was
goodness.
like my sign. I was like, I don't need to be, on any more ladders or roofs anymore. So, while I was working there, I continued working at the golf course and cutting some grass. And then after I was, experiencing more back pain, I just started like applying different places. I actually just made a LinkedIn profile, put myself as open to work, and I had just a couple different recruiters, reaching out to me from different spaces, looking to get a job. I had two interviews with local recruiting firms, basically third party recruiting firms who were recruiting for technology based companies. So had one interview with one, didn't go so well. They said I wasn't, eager enough or money motivated or, competitive enough to be in their environment.
Man.
Um, then alongside that, I had a exact same, same timing, same week. I'm having both of these interviews. I had the other people, they brought me in um, as a full desk recruiter. So this is around those lines of being like doing account executive, business development side of things. They said they liked my drive, they liked my sports background, that showed that I was competitive. They liked my personality and stuff. So hand in hand, I had just had some, two different stories on the side. So that was just an interesting process to share. But yeah, I got into that role. I was doing the business development side of things. I think that being someone who has just a little like socially awkward and just like, being like putting myself out there, a lot of the outbound calls and getting used to that was fairly new to me. Being in a sales focused role and just constantly calling people who either weren't interested in our product or didn't want to hear from me because they had thousands of other recruiters kind of reaching out to them. So I did that, and I still remember to this day my boss telling me that the average life cycle of a full desk recruiter is 5 months.
Mm.
5 months is the average life cycle of a full desk recruiter. Mostly those like entry level college students kind of coming into that role, but that's the life cycle of doing all those outbound calls, sales, account executive, business development, things like that. And I remember making it to month 6 and like, at least I lasted as long as an average person,
Yeah.
above average. Nice. All right. So I'll leave. Um, and that just like weighed in on me. It was just like, constantly calling people, really wanting to succeed, but people hanging up on you or telling you don't want they don't want your project, or um, different stuff like that. You have so many different avenues to kind of resource and reach out to people. And I was going for it. I was making the calls. I would call like 100 people a day, just trying to get some
Mm,
business or whatever. So I gave it a shot, and I tried.
yeah.
Uh, then I ended up leaving the company. I went out and got a job doing as a stretch specialist at a wellness clinic. And I was doing that, commuting like 30, 40 minutes one way. And then in the afternoon, Charlotte traffic, it's like an hour drive home. So I was just, after stretching people for 8 hours a day, making like $15 an hour. So I was exhausted.
Goodness.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and then one of the old managers actually reached out to me on LinkedIn again when I put myself out there as open to work. He reached out to me again and said, "Hey, we have like a couple positions open as on the talent advising side as candidate advocates." And he said, like, during your time there, I know you really brought in some good candidates and got in some good candidate deals, which technically just wasn't your side of the business, so it didn't really account for anything. So we'd like to have you on as a talent advisor, and uh, so that's when I was interested to see that side of it. I didn't have to do the business development side. I actually working with our product, and our product is candidates.
Mm,
So working with those candidates, and those are people who need me. They need me to help them get jobs, or I'm a resource for them so they can actually use me. So I was happy to be on that side of things, and that's kind of how I got introduced to that role. And I had the option of going locally into Charlotte, working for one of those teams, or I could work for our headquarters in Boston. And if you're like a money and business person, it's like I'm gonna make more money working for the headquarters because that's like
yeah,
the go-to spot.
definitely. So you work remote for Boston right now?
Yeah, I'm currently working remote. Got my nice setup, office space, and everything.
Nice.
It's nice. It comes remote work comes with its highs and lows. You kind of lack seeing those people in person and everything. So sometimes it could be that like you miss that in person part of things, but of course you kind of work on your time, and you're not expected to just sit there and eyeball someone for 8 hours a day and be expected to
Definitely.
put in work the whole time.
Definitely. I agree. I want to highlight something you said. You said that the candidates need you, and it kind of ties right into my next question. Why is talent advising important? Like, why do the candidates need you?
Yeah. So basically, with talent advisors, we're just another resource to get you tied into companies a lot quicker. Like I said, some companies have internal recruiters to do this. They have HR, or you work with a third party agency, and our focus is entirely on you in this one role or multiple roles that you offer us. I think you get like a slower process from HR because you may assign two people to handle the hiring process for a whole development team or a whole company's division, and it's like, all right, they're getting flooded with like thousands of applications. How do they truly cycle through all of these and talk to all these people? Whereas a candidate or a company goes through us, and we're a third party recruiting agency, and you give me a role and you say, hey, go find me a .NET developer within this local area. I need someone who knows C Sharp, .NET Core, maybe some other stuff there tied into it. That's all I'm going to focus my time on, is finding
Mm,
those people. And then, those people who are open to work on LinkedIn or sending their resumes in, whatever it may be, reaching out. I reach out to them. I fully vet that person, make sure that, personality wise, they're a good engineer. On the development side, they're a good engineer. This company has and meets like the requirements for what they want. So I'm also advocating for them instead of them just pushing in their resume. You know how tiring it has to be as a person to just And I've been that person to just sit there on the other side and send in hundreds of applications on a day, and you don't get even an email back saying like,
Definitely.
you've been rejected. Just sitting there waiting for like 8 weeks, and then like you finally find some crappy job just to kind of fill the time and the void or whatever, and then the
Yeah.
company gets back to you and they're like, hey, we're interested, and it's like, well, hey, I don't have like time, or I moved, or something,
Yeah.
I was interested 2 months ago. Or
Yeah.
so that's why I say, like, candidates need us. We're a great resource. We are advocates for you. We're going to push you into the door faster. We're going to try to get you more money on the table. You don't have to advocate for yourself in terms of budget and finances. I know that's a shaky situation too. Knowing a company's offering you, $50 an hour, and knowing their wages on, Indeed offer something from 50 to 80. So it's like, can
Mm,
I ask for that 80, or do I have that experience for that 80? And it's like, that's what we're here for. You don't have to.
mm.
We're advocating for you on your side.
Okay.
It's not all about us, getting a dollar to, place you at these places. It's like, we're going to get you as much as we can at the time that we can, and make sure you're happy, because, our job isn't to just place you at a company, leave you in whatever situation, and just move on. We have to make sure you're happy there, because, if you quit in 90 days, that looks so bad on us. So it's like, I got to find you somewhere that you're happy at. So I find joy in that, helping people
Mm.
find their happy spot.
I like that. You said something I want to touch on, that like people, like you try to find people with the right fit, make sure they have the right attitude. What are some things that have like completely turned you off to like prospective candidates that like just kind of like I'm not going to talk to this person.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes you can find people who are just, I think like a big red flag for anybody in any field is just those people who are like super money motivated, where like that is just like the uh, Chris was everything with the job. And I understand like getting your money on the table is, definitely key, and you want to get that. I'm sorry if you hear the
Oh, you're
dog.
fine. You're fine.
But getting your money is important. We definitely want to have that out there for you. But when money is like the only thing that drives you, and that's all you want to talk about in the call, or that's something that you enforce, is it just comes off as a red flag. It's like, if you're in a call, and we definitely want to go over your experiences, what you're looking for, and everything. But at the end of the day, with if you're just kind of reinforcing money, 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 it just looks kind of bad. And it's like, all right, I don't want to, send this person in, and they're going to just be highly money motivated, or they're not going to accept an offer because it's, maybe 5K under this top price that they're looking for, or whatever. And it's like, whatever you need to see, you need to see. I get that. But, uh,
Yeah.
you know, these days it's, I think a lot with, I'm actually not sure where the trend comes from, but a lot of people are asking a lot out of various roles, and not committing as much work to it. So
Mm,
maybe asking for like 300K total comp out of everything, because you got a job at Amazon. It's like, you got to realize the market isn't the same as what it is, or every company isn't paying what Amazon can pay.
that's yeah, that's the key. It's like it's that's definitely the key. Like these companies are paying like crazy. Some companies like Netflix, like you said, Amazon,
Mhm.
Meta, paying crazy amounts of money. Than like you said, and they're not necessarily doing a lot of work, and they want the same type
Yeah.
of money for.
And I still want to revise. So I know that, like I said, that money is a big red flag. I think, but the biggest red flag is just almost like how you treat people. Uh,
Mm,
I would say, because money is a sensitive topic, because it could be you need to see those dollars to continue your way of living, or that's just what your worth is, and that's completely okay too. But with the way
yeah.
you treat people in a call and everything, that's the complete red flag. Like, if I'm just a recruiter and you're just like kind of disrespecting me on the call, there's no way I'm really trying to set you up with a hiring manager. At the end of the day, I
Mm,
don't really play God in any situation, so I'll send people over if I feel they're fit. Even if they were like a slight bit rude to me. Uh,
yeah.
it's like, maybe they just had a bad day, or maybe they're going to treat this hiring manager a little bit nicer, or they're a little bit better in those processes. But, if I'm in a call and I'm just asking you simple questions to kind of help out with you, and you're like, rushing me, or like demanding things from me or stuff like that, it's like that are just, unrealistic, or
Yeah.
come off as rude. People understand their attitude and the way they treat people.
Yeah.
Then I'm not really compelled to put you in that situation, because like I said, at the end of the day, if I send you over there and you talk to the hiring manager and you treat him the same way, the hiring manager is going to come back and look at me and question my job and my ability and my capabilities to bring in him, decent engineers, because this person was an absolute like asshole to him, and I to set him up with a meeting.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. You have obviously you told us earlier in the interview about your work history and how you ended up where you are. How did high school and college, if you attended college, how did that tie into you becoming a talent advisor, if it did at all?
Yeah, so I'd say really the competitiveness overall kind of tied into it in a ways. High school, I played sports throughout the entire thing. My dad was just someone who was just really big on sports, and coming from our background, growing up in like low income like housing and environments and stuff like that, he didn't want me to be a part of like being in the streets and being involved with anything that's out there. So he was like, if you're playing sports year round, you can't be involved in the streets,
Mm.
because you get done playing a game or something like that, you're exhausted, you're done for it. You're not going outside
Yeah.
doing all that stuff. And even on my free time, I was still playing sports, picking up a football, soccer, whatever, basketball, just having fun that way. So
Yeah.
um, I was always playing sports. Got over here to Matthews once I moved. I was bouncing all around the place, but I moved from Florida over to Charlotte, and sports was just really big in Charlotte, and I didn't realize how that environment was actually just coming into it. But just like going to Butler and having that big rivalry versus Independence, and like how like different people just like raving about sports, and about I just kind of got a lot more involved into what was going on. So, I did track and I did soccer. But track took me places. I always knew like I was a little bit better than what I had to offer. I
Mhm.
was a little bit lazier in high school, and that took some growing up. I think like once I got to college and I finished my freshman year, and I came out with like a lower GPA, didn't expect it, and so I was already disappointed in myself in that. Um, I didn't really do many like activities or anything. I was just inside playing Xbox, doing all that. And I just had like a wake up moment where I was just realizing like all the stuff I kind of left on the table, like there's so much potential for me to be great in so many different aspects of life. And I was just kind of slacking. So like, I put the Xbox down for a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I still got on my phone, playing, whatever. But I put that stuff down and I got in shape. I walked on to UNCG's track team as a
Nice.
sprinter, just kind of did that all 4 years. And that drive and that competitiveness, that nature just took me to different places. Like I got records in the weight room. I got like majority of our sprint records, and I'm not the fastest dude out there by any means, but we weren't really much of a sprint program. So we did have sprinters come through, but I just took their records, and I'll pride myself on that, just being competitive enough to just always be looking at the numbers and wanting to be the guy to beat them. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that drove me. I got into like sports marketing and stuff like that. And I just found in those natures, those sales roles, it was just an exciting environment because I always wanted to beat the next guy. I can be
Mm.
friendly with people, I can be personable, I can be everything, but like when it comes to putting money on the table or just competing, it's like I don't want to be complacent. I
Yeah.
don't want to be the person that's just around, just like, floating, doing numbers, especially in like the sales role. And they're putting your name on charts and just seeing yourself in the middle of the pack, or you're not the person that's out there getting the prizes and stuff. I was like, nah, I can't. I'm too competitive for that.
Definitely.
Whereas like I love the people around me. I want to see you win, but like if it's me versus you, it's me. You talking
Under-
different mode, and like don't get me wrong. So even in the talent advising scope of things, we are in sales.
Yeah.
Part of my pay is commission based as well. Is how many people can you place? Um, how many people I'm expected to hit KPIs and goals just like any other salesperson. I have to talk to a certain amount of people a month. I have to get a certain amount of people sent out a month or do a certain amount of deals and stuff like that. And uh, that brings the competitive nature out of me, and that's how I pay respects to, like, the high school, college, and everything. Just that track nature is like, I want to be first every time.
Mm.
And if you run track or you get into that and the area, it's like coming in second does not feel good. Unless the biggest platform, it's like coming in second is not. It's like I was right there. I was
Yeah.
right there. It
It's,
doesn't feel good to me. It's that bittersweet taste, and I take that into my role. I've won several contests. I've won several like bonuses back to back, months and months of like bonuses. They created like two new positions in our company for the people who do like exceptionally well to be sitting at those instead of being a manager.
mhm.
Someone who's just like really still focused on the sales and development on that side. And I hold that seat. I'm in that.
Nice.
Like I'm a prince. They created the principal title, and I'm a principal talent advisor
Man.
because I take my job that seriously. That I want to beat the next person. I don't want to be complacent. I don't want to be a middle of the pack person. I want the money. Like, you offer me commission, and I want to pull in the extra dollars every month.
Definitely.
If you can't tell, but I'm competitive. Like, we
Nah,
get we play a little pickup basketball game. I don't care who playing. My mom could be in the game.
Hey, bro, let it be known though. I don't know if you remember. Side note. When I came to UTG that one time, my brother was playing in a football game, like the UTG like child football team. Me and you did a sprint. Remember?
I'll remember it.
It was a
You want to
long.
beat
It was.
me?
No, you beat me. You beat me. You beat me. But I was close though. I was close. It had to be. It had to be like six, not 6 years. Probably like. Well, it might have been 6 years ago. It might have been. Like
Yeah.
if my brother was like a freshman or a sophomore there. I don't know. But it's my older brother. But it might have been fine. Anyways, back on
Yeah,
topic. I
yeah.
love.
No, I remember because I had other people like CJ came out there. He raced me too, and I was messing around with him. We did like a 40-yard dash, and
Okay.
I recorded it the whole time we was running.
But CJ was really good at racing. I mean, at running, right? If I remember the correct, I think like the correct CJ. Like,
CJ Yin,
oh, never mind. I'm thinking about a
yeah,
different CJ. Okay. Oh,
yeah,
CJ, yeah. I know you smoked them. I love you, CJ, but I know not want to smoke you. Okay, we're at 22 minutes, so I have a not so speed round, but I want to ask two more questions before I get to the speed round. Can you give us Actually, I'm gonna ask because you kind of already explained it. Let's say if you were a younger you, let's say Nyjuan, 18 years old, just graduated high school, but maybe you had the knowledge that you have now rather than like leave to learn it all over again. Would you do anything differently?
Of course, I think, yeah, I think a lot of people, you grow out of situations and environments and everything, and you maybe resent some of the choices you made unless you are a perfect person. You make all the right choices, but to put yourself in different situations, one thing I would say is one thing I always grew up learning, and it's a great saying. Don't get me wrong, but you know, my pops always told me, like, if you do what you love, you never have to work a day in your life.
Yeah.
So like I took that mantra and took it to college, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do what I love. Like, and that was drawing at the time. And then I learned about the real world, and that, like, artists can't entirely just, you just can't just be out there just doing what you love, because sometimes doing what you love doesn't pay the bills. Uh,
Yeah.
if I knew what I knew today, I probably would have just went to school and majored in computer science so that I could set myself up to have a career that can pay for me to do what I love at a exceptional rate and on more free time that can give me more freedom. Because I think at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is freedom of time to do what you want with your time. And, you know, the only blocker for that is money. So that's
100%.
probably what I would have done for myself. Or,
Hey,
yeah.
that I like it, bro. Sorry to interrupt you, but like I would do the same exact thing. I think I've said it on one episode that I would major in comp sci, and it's interesting, bro. I think you're one of the first people to say that they would change anything, and it's always interesting to me how people feel like I have no regrets. So it's like it's not necessarily about having regrets. I think in this question, answer this question, but there's no wrong answer. But I'm just like kind of like just talking, but there's no wrong answer. But it's like I feel like in order to change something, you don't have to regret that you made the decision. That makes sense. Like I don't regret that I was a health systems management major, but I know that if I would have been a comp sci major, I would have I honestly like there's people that like have retired already. That at age like 28, I'm 26, but at age 28, if you come out of school making like 200K as a software engineer at a really big tech company, to say like Netflix, you save that money, you live like on 40K a year, you invest it, you buy 3 houses. You know what I mean? You have rental income coming, and you can literally retire in 5, 6 years. So like, I feel like if you could get time back with and keeping knowledge, you should always do something differently.
Mhm.
Always. Like I don't think it makes sense not to. And you
Yeah,
know what I
it's like
mean?
the least I could do is go tell my old self to, buy GameStop stock. And
Yeah.
once it hit 2021, you up.
Yeah.
Promise.
Yeah, exactly. Would your old self believe future you? That's another question. But I mean, you gotta say it. You know what I mean? You gotta tell
Yeah.
them in the day.
I would believe future me, man. If he came here and told me some advice, I'd be like, man, I ain't never seen nothing like this. I got no choice. This gotta be.
I'm weak. Okay, well that takes us to the not so speed round. So the not so speed round is obviously what it says. It's the not so speed round, but the questions are a little not tricky, but they're made to have you think a little bit. I guess it's 4 questions. The first question is, what would happen to society if talent advising didn't exist? Or another way of phrasing it is, what does a world without talent advising look like?
I think world without talent advising is just um, a slower process for jobs. It's a lot more people just waiting and kind of holding hands and waiting for the opportunity. If the talent advisors aren't there, if the internal recruiters aren't there, it's I think the load of work on managers increases insanely, and you got nobody who really wants to be in that seat if they have to handle and vet a full entire hiring process. That slows the process for projects and everything. So I think you have like a slower process in total. You got a lot of people waiting to get jobs at a lot slower paces. So, those downtimes where it's like there's a lot of layoffs and such, you got a lot of people collecting unemployment and holding on to severance until they can get something. So I think that's
Yeah.
what we'd be looking at.
Okay, that's definitely grim. All right, second question is: are you underpaid or overpaid as a talent advisor?
I think that I'm in a seat where I think I'm properly paid for my position, but there's room for improvement. I think that my answer just comes from ignorance of um, like the higher ups and what really goes into the business and the sales. Like how much should a business really be taking out of like a sale that we do?
Mm,
Like if we place an engineer at 180K and the company has like a 30% fee, it's like, how much of that 30% do I think I'm actually worth? How much of my
mm,
job am I doing? Like, am I accounting for? Because I think, like, in total, I think the account executive or the full desk recruiter does a lot of the handy work in that, calling that same person hundreds and hundreds of times till you get their business, and then going to me, and then I just go and pile in candidates or whatever while they're doing all the business development side of the things and kind of selling our product and everything. It's like you really did the groundwork. I'm kind of just communicating with these people who are looking for jobs and making sure we got the right one sent over to this job. So I think I'm properly paid for my position. I think that there's definitely room to go up, and companies have that money, but a lot of things in terms of like business taxes and stuff like that, I'm a little bit ignorant on because there's internal recruiting positions on the West Coast at 140K or over six figures for like tech startups and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
they come with just different risk, and there's different taxes in California and stuff like that. So I could say like, hey, maybe I deserve to be paid the same thing those people over there are making, but it's like I don't have the same taxes, and I'm not taking as much of a risk. My company's a lot more stable, and they provide me with some different tools and stuff so that it makes what I'm getting paid feel comfortable.
Definitely. And I love that. And I want to highlight that I think you're the 18th guest I've had on here. Every guest that's worked in a sales role or like a pseudo sales role or a role with like base and commission, everyone, if I remember correctly, I don't want to lie on here. But from what I can remember, everyone that's worked in those type of roles has always said that they're like fairly compensated. Um, so that's something to think about. I mean, sales is one of or sales like roles, pseudo sales roles, are some of the only positions where you can get compensated based off of your actions, off of your inputs. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, I mean, except for like labor jobs, but like Nyjuan said, why did he end up in this position? I mean, it's like you can definitely make a lot of money doing labor jobs, construction, really ending with your body. But it's like, I feel like we live in the age of information, so you should be using your mind more than you should be using your body. That's just my thought. Third question: name one person, book, or event that changed the trajectory of your life.
I would say person. I'm gonna say my manager I work with right now. Um,
Okay.
yeah, I'm gonna say him. So basically, and the story behind that is like I could definitely probably vouch for anything and like the supporters that have been around me for like my whole job and everything. But I just want to say like coming into the job in the original sense, when I originally came in as that full desperate person doing the business development side and executive side, he was doing the talent advising side, and he was kind of working his way up that ladder, and I think he was a lead or a manager at that point. Um, but to just say that like after I left the job, I was only at the job for 5, 6 months.
Mhm.
I left the job, and this is a year and a half later, and this man is still advocating for me.
Crazy.
And to say like what this the situation he took me out of, and being in the place that I'm in, is just I'm like forever grateful for it. And it's not the trajectory I expected at all. Coming out of high school, while in high school, I wasn't even planning for college. I'm from
Mm.
Sumter, South Carolina. I can't name a person in my family that went to college.
Shout out Sumter.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, bro, it's just like, that environment, I'm, college to anyone from Sumter, but I'm from a, low income area in Sumter. And then that's just not something I really heard of, from not to expecting to go to college to going to college. And then after college, not having a idea of like what I want to do as a job, and working these manual labor jobs, $8 an hour, $10 an hour in the sun, 8 hours a day, kind of beaten at that. And then, still kind of continue to try to dive into the sports realm, and then realizing sports doesn't pay either. They don't pay anyone unless you in the sales route or whatever. And then that's really a field where like it's who you know, not what you know. You could have
Yeah.
I could have had a master's degree, PhD, and whatever I wanted to. I would probably be sitting at home trying to get sales ticketing job for $7.25 an hour
Goodness.
Hornets, it's like stuff like that. And it's like he put me in that position, and now I'm in a position where uh I'm making money that I never thought I would touch. I'm able to help out my family, and do things, and that's all because of the dude who I I spent not too much time with, but just had some genuine conversations with, just continued to advocate for me,
Yeah.
2 years later down the line, and went out his way to find me one when I decided to, make a LinkedIn page. He was like, "Yeah, I haven't been able to like get in contact with you, but I remembered you. I just didn't have any of your information." And then put me in
Dang.
that position, and then he's my direct manager that I report to, and built me from internal, or like basically like an entry level talent advisor at the bottom of the barrel, to a year and a half later, I'm at the top of the company in terms of like
Mm.
my sales role. Like, I'm not a manager or anything, because I don't want to go to that seat. But it's like
Yeah.
I'm someone who's focused on performance. Like, I'm a performance based talent advisor. I'm here to do the deals and hit the big numbers and everything, and that's what my role is. And I'm at the top of that in a year and a half. There's people who have been at this job 3-4 years, and they underneath me. So it's like,
Mm. Favor. It's I think people I really like that shout out. We get a lot of parent shout outs, we get a lot of like mentors, but I've never had a manager shout out. And like I think managers understand, but managers are advocates. And that's why it's really crucial and important to have, for upper leadership, like C levels, to really hire good people, because like what you just heard, like this man sought out Nyjuan years later and put him in a place where he could succeed, and he didn't only succeed, he thrived, and in a year and a half. So like, it's really important to put good people in, like, to break like nepotistic environments, because like I see that I work in a really big company, 10,000 plus people, and there's great managers, there's good managers, and there's managers that just hire people they know. And I mean, that's okay. But it's like you're really shutting out chances of people that would not only be good at the job, but that will be good at the job. The last question, and I think one of the most important of the whole entire interview, is how would somebody get started? They heard this interview, they fell in love with what you were saying and with your character. How would they become a talent advisor?
yeah. So I think, first and foremost, get on LinkedIn, make your profile. I think LinkedIn is just the number one spot for job recruiting, hiring, looking for roles, whatever it may be. If you want to apply, number one spot for it. Get on LinkedIn, put your resume out there, let people know that you're open to work. Put your interests in the talent advising, recruitment, um, internal recruiters. Put it in that realm or that scope, and just kind of highlight, uh, you're competitive. If you're a sports athlete, they typically look for those. Athletics, just being competitive, they look for those people who have those like sales focused uh, experiences. So highlight that in your resume, and not the job you had at a trampoline place. And if your only job is at a trampoline place, highlight some sales experience and some skills. You have so many avenues to help you out with resumes, whether that's someone who types up resumes, or using Chat GPT or Bard or whatever you want to use, to get yourself a nice sales focused resume out there. And like I said, reach out to people. Even you can connect with these recruiters. We're real people. We see the messages on LinkedIn. We can reply to you, help you out with your situation. We're also not like perfect, so there's a bunch of people reaching out, and we're reaching out to a bunch of people, so messages do get missed. I apologize for anyone who's seeing this and has reached out to me. um, but yeah, I definitely think that just keep in mind it is a sales focused role at the end of the day. So they want someone competitive. They don't want someone who's complacent. This isn't some remote job that you just come in and lollygag at. You're expected to perform, because at the end of the day, you're working for a business, and if you're not bringing a business money, or you're something like that, then you know you're no longer an asset. You're just a liability. So want people who want to get money and get perform. If you're going to go into a sales focused role, be money motivated, because that's what you're fighting for out there. But yeah, if you want to be a talent advisor, they typically look for people with a degree of any sort, and some sort of competitiveness and drive. People who can multitask, who can do outbound calls, inbound leads, and whatnot. So yeah, I'd say go after it.
I love it. I love it. LinkedIn, highlight sales experience if you have it. If you don't have it, you can translate almost any job into sales experience. I love it. That was great advice. This has been a great interview. I think one of the best that we've had. Thank you, Nyjuan, for joining us. Do you want to give out some of your social medias, maybe like your LinkedIn, so people can reach out to you after they hear this interview?
Yeah. Well, my name will be tagged here. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Just using my name is pretty unique, Nyjuan Williams. So you can reach out there if you need any tips, want to get it, sent over to any roles, want to inquire about any of our jobs or any advice on live or talent advising. So you can hit me up on there. I am on Instagram as well. My username is Swalliam. So that's SWALLIAM. Yeah.
Perfect. One quick question: What does that mean? That username, I gotta hear it on the line.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if you remember her, but her name's Anaya Wise.
Yeah. No, no,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So we were good friends throughout high school. She was like one of my best friends. I used to always talk to her, but she was helping me come up with like a nickname or something like that because I didn't have one. I forgot. I think I was talking to Miles Malone, and everyone had like cool name for him and everything. And she was like, "We need to come up with you for one." And she was like, "Swalliam." I was like, "Where did you get that?" She was like, she just jumbled up Williams and then added like I guess some letter or in there, and I was like, all right,
What?
just made it my Instagram, and I made that my Instagram like sophomore year or
What?
and I still have it to this day.
Okay, I just never knew what it meant. And actually, shout out Naya. She actually gave me some tips for my hair like last weekend. Me and her to talk, and she's gonna be on a podcast. And like, I don't even know where me and her we
Oh yeah,
scheduled it. I
she's an
forgot.
entrepreneur. She got the hair
Yeah.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she be killing it. I think she's gonna braid my hair next time. Yeah. But yeah, me and Naya, we're really good friends. But that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I had to ask. I always wonder why it was that, because it's a really unique like. I've never seen like a name like that before, so I didn't know what it represented. But I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to Naya.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, Narwan, again for joining the Unknown Options. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully, you listened this long. Please comment. That's the most important thing you can do. Like also and subscribe. Hope everyone has a great night and tune into our next episode. Thank you.